practice expanding into our observer self today. What does that mean? Well, it means that we have the power to be both the tree and the observer on the mountaintop looking down at the forest. So that's why I'm out here today. Well, first of all, it's a beautiful day and the sun's shining, and we're trying to get as much sunshine as we can because that's soothing for our nervous system. But also to really kind of exemplify what this is like, right? Is that right now I'm in the forest. I am one of the trees. Being one of the trees, identifying as them, I'm allowing myself to be in this situation. Meaning I'm giving myself permission to fully feel all of my emotions around what's happening. So around the pandemic, I've felt a wide range of emotions. Sadness, anger, frustration, fear, moments of hope, inspiration, joy. So there's all of this emotional experience happening, and I'm allowing myself to feel it all. So that's what being the tree is being in the experience, in the forest, and allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to feel fully. So let's take a moment and just breathe that in together and connect with ourselves and ground and center in that knowing that we have the power to hold space for our own emotions and really allow them to flow through us. Let's breathe together. Giving ourselves permission to be in this experience and to feel all of our emotions. Good. Now we want to be careful not to stay in the experience and in that emotional state too much, right? Well, we want to make room for it. If we stay stuck there, it can be way too overwhelming for our nervous systems, and that's when we can start to have extreme anxiety or depression, or our fear response just gets overwhelming for us, our bodies to handle. So that's where expanding into the observer comes in. And that's why we're going to walk out of the forest now, and we are going to walk far enough away from it where we can turn around and be the observer as well. So imagine in your mind, it's that you are both the tree in the forest and you get enough space away from it where you can turn around and look at it. Where you can have enough distance, enough space from the emotion to get curious about what's going on here. How can I take care of myself within it? And this observing part can see it from a different perspective, right? It expands our point of view enough where we can see a lot more of the experience than just our own feelings, than just our own emotion around what's happening. So now all of a sudden we can start to see the bigger view. We can start to empathize with others. We can start to think about how we can get put into action because we're not so overwhelmed by our own emotion. So our observer is really powerful because it can take it all in without the intensity of the emotion at all times. So that's what I want you to start thinking about, is that you have the power to both honor your emotions and be that tree, and step far enough away from the forest that you can observe the forest as well, okay? So let's take a moment and breathe together and really breathe in this idea that we are the observer as well. So let's take a few deep breaths, and I want you to imagine standing on top of a mountain and looking down and observing a beautiful forest. as you're observing that forest, notice how you feel. Notice that you can take in the whole scene. You can take in the color of the sky and the birds flying, the different types of trees, the fluffy white clouds. You can feel the breeze. You have the power to be this observer, even when we're in the midst of a collective trauma like this pandemic. You have the power to both be the tree, honor your emotions, and step far enough away from the experience to observe. To get enough distance to see the whole picture and be able to take care of yourself and get into action for others. Breathe all of that knowing in and let yourself feel it in every cell of your being. I'd encourage you to take a moment to just journal this experience out for yourself and just let yourself journal what it means to you to be the tree as we're going through this experience together. What emotions are you honoring as we navigate this experience? And then also write about what it means to you to be the observer and what that looks like, how that shifts things, that you can step outside of it enough to look upon it and not feel the feeling so intensely. And making room for both of these parts of you to coexist is where the power lies. You have that power within you. Thank you for joining me today. Let's wrap up again, sending so much love and strength. Today I'm thinking about all of the people that work at hospitals. Yes, of course, the nurses and doctors, but even the people that you wouldn't think of, like the secretaries. There's been a lovely secretary working at Southside Hospital. Her name is Joanna. She's been there for 40 years, and she's been a gift to us as my mother-in-law has been there. She's going into her room and talking to her for us, sending her our funny messages to try to keep her spirits up. So we thank Joanna, and we thank all of those heroes in all of the hospitals across the world right now that are helping families and patients get through this together. Please send them strength and love with me. And to you, here is my daily energetic hug and a reminder to be so loving and gentle to yourself and all those around you. I'll see you tomorrow.